Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to share something super cool. A client just shared with us they got a 10x return on their very first chat campaign with us. So essentially, an entire year of the service just paid for itself in the very first campaign. Obviously, if you're selling AI services or you're looking to sell AI services, this is a great case study on the effectiveness of AI chat. So I just figured I'd share exactly what they did, the workflows they used, all that good stuff, just in case you want to try it yourself. So they are in the home service industry. What they wanted to do was set up an outreach campaign to all appointments that sat between 60 and 90 days ago. And this is something that they do in the past, but typically they just call them. But obviously this is a perfect use case for an AI chat with automated scheduling. So they had about 200 appointments, a little less than 200 appointments during that period. So they sent a text message through GoHighLevel, super simple, a follow-up message just to try to re-engage them and pull them back into the pipeline. They ended up having 30 conversations with the AI, a little over 100 messages total. So some of them were longer, some of them were shorter. But they ended up scheduling 8 new appointments or rescheduling 8 appointments, and then 2 of them signed. So fantastic, right? Those are opportunities that they probably would have lost before, wouldn't have had before. And they're able to create new opportunities and new revenue opportunities without having to spend any more money on ads, which is a really big value add. So now let's take a look at the actual campaign just so you can kind of try this type of thing out for yourself. For the AI chat piece of it, they obviously use Cereba AI for this. You can probably use whatever you want. I'm a little biased, but Cereba is probably the easiest way for you to set this up. But if you already have your own tool, you can definitely try doing this with that. Let's flip over to Cereba really quick so we can just see how they set the campaign up, and then I'll break down the high-level workflow. So with Cereba, they went through and they set up their sales process here, right? So they set up for scheduling, setting up their qualifying call, and did it over the phone. They then just put their engagement questions in to drive the conversation forward. No, they didn't have any qualifying questions, but then they just set up their scheduling readiness and they're good to go with the campaign. Let's flip over to the actual workflow in GoHighLevel. So it's going to be a little bit different depending on what AI tool that you're using, but it should be pretty basic either way. I'll get to the trigger here in a little bit, but I want to go through each of the steps first. So first thing, it's great to have a wait step at the top of your workflow. This just prevents you from accidentally pulling people in or sending the messages when you're not ready to send the messages. So we put a 2-minute wait step at the top. Then we have send SMS. So obviously super simple. This is kind of the template that they used for sending this out. I just replaced some of the ones that aren't relevant, might not be relevant to your industry, just with like example merge fields. But it's just, hey, John, it's Tim from Cereba. You met with us to review your whatever your industry is, solar, HVAC, roofing project some time ago. With summer here, a lot of people want to get the project started again, so they're ready for whatever the benefit of that is. And then, have you looked into that at all, right? So it's always great to end with a question. That's just going to put your AI in a position where it's able to continue the conversation, right? It's just going to get a response at the end of the day. So it's great to get some engagement from the first message that you send there. So this part's going to be a little bit different depending on what AI tool that you're using, but for Cereba, we're just going to update the campaign here and then we're good to go. So first, we're just going to add the campaign name for the campaign that we're running, and that's what we just created when we were in Cereba a few minutes ago. Then we're just going to update the Cereba trigger message with the message that we're sending here, and that's just going to give a little bit more context whenever the message gets handed off, the conversation gets continued from Cereba on the other side. This part's essentially done. All you need is the trigger to launch the whole thing. So as far as the trigger goes, you're going to want to do this with like a smart list, basically, where you're going to add people to the workflow. So in order to do that, you're going to need to be able to just segment your contacts, basically. So you're going to need to be able to know, hey, these are the ones that had appointments during this time window and didn't sign. So you probably have either dispositions or some type of field in there that you're using to kind of sort those out. You probably already have that set up in your system. If not, you can probably do it manually. You could just go run an appointments report, and then, you know who signed. Run an appointments report for whatever that calendar was, and then just go through the list with in Excel or something and just pull out all of the ones that signed already. And then you take those, you can upload them to the system, and then you can add them to the campaign. Now, when you add them to the campaign, one thing I always recommend doing is to do it in drip mode, just so that you can just keep an eye on the stuff that's coming through, and not bombard your sales team or your call center with scheduled appointments. So just depending on how many appointments that you had during that time. So when you add in drip mode, you can send something like 15 messages at a time, for example, and you can repeat that every 15 minutes is what I have here, and then you can send it during whatever your business hours are, Monday through Friday, for example. So once you do that, they'll fall into your campaign during these times. It'll batch them out. You can keep an eye on the messages if you want to. Probably don't need to. Just get ready to take the scheduled calls or the scheduled appointments, whatever you have set up there. That's it. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And that's it. I hope that this is something that you can take advantage of and create some new revenue opportunities that you wouldn't have had before.